everybody. I think we're live here. Oh yeah, looks like it. So, welcome to Wellness Wednesday, virtual yoga at GOCA. You got a minute before the hour. I will sit quietly. I'm actually sort of tempted to get up and grab a broom and sweep my floor. You might know how that goes, but anyway. And look, it's noon, so I am saved from needing to get up and sweep my floor. You wouldn't know it, well, you can't see it, but I spent a very long time cleaning this floor yesterday. It's a miracle to me that it gets this dirty every day. Anyway, I am Dr. Debbie Pates. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. We've got some big news. We are going to be returning to live in-person yoga starting the week after Labor Day. And here's the important part to remember as well. We're going to be moving it from Wednesday to Monday. So maybe I should put something in the comments. Right now the plan is to continue having it at noon. It's going to be Mindful Movement Monday. And it will be in the art gallery, so that is exciting. Going to begin the week after Labor Day. So the Labor Day is a Monday. We will start the next Monday. And I will keep reminding you guys of this. Also, before that starts, I am going to take a hiatus from yoga teaching, just give myself a break. And I apologize for the inconvenience to any of you guys who enjoy my classes. I assure you there's plenty of other classes out there that are wonderful, and you can always watch my old videos on YouTube or here. And that said, come on into child's pose. Let's get started doing some yoga. So bring your knees maybe wide, which is going to get into your hips a little bit more, or bring your knees together, which is going to round your low back a little bit more. And maybe experiment, see which one feels better to you today, or maybe you know, right? So I injured my back a little bit last week, and I'm going to be taking care of it, so I won't be doing some of the things. And this injury, injury is a really great teacher. All sorts of stuff shows up, a lot of different parts of me showing up around this injury. The part of me that's frustrated, the part of me that wants to keep pushing anyway, the part of me that says, hey man, this is the only body you're going to get this go round, and if you want it to last another 40 or 50 years, you better take care of it, right? Because I wouldn't mind going to my grave without any replacement parts. So we need to be careful. We need to treat our bodies well. And that can be difficult and challenging sometimes. And so please take care of yourself, whatever that means to you in this practice today. That might mean pushing. It might mean scaling back. And you might not know that which is right until you begin. And always, always, injury is such a wonderful reminder to be grateful for how well our bodies work most of the time, right? Most of the time we're not injured. And even if you have something like a chronic pain issue, recognizing how much does go well so much of the time and being grateful for that. And that's a practice, right? That is a mindful, deliberate practice of gratitude. And from child's pose, wherever you've been, whether your arms are outstretched, knees together, knees wide, take another breath or two, feeling your forehead on the ground, feeling yourself connecting to the earth, feeling yourself in this stillness before we begin to move. Maybe taking a moment to dedicate your practice
or create an intention for your practice. And if that doesn't work for you, then just let that go. Push up onto your hands and knees. Start moving through some cat-cows. So we want to stack our joints to protect them, which is why I always say hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. And begin to move through some spinal flexion. Maybe starting slowly and seeing what feels right. Sort of experimenting with what your body is willing to do today, what your body wants to do today. And just like setting an intention or a dedication is a suggestion, so is everything else that I say. So you don't have to do any of these things. And please don't do them if they don't feel right to you. So there's some level of you taking responsibility in your practice. Come on back to a flat spine, neutral spine, and extend your left arm, left leg I meant to say, and your right arm. Left leg, right arm. So here's a lot of core engagement right here. Your spine is working, your stomach muscles are working, your arm on the right is lifting, your arm on the left is supporting. Your glutes, the back of your left leg working. And then inhale here, and let's curl again. Elbow to knee, exhale. Inhale, reach it out. 3 of these. Inhale, exhale, curl. 2, inhale, reach out. Exhale, curl. Reach out, and then bend your left knee. Reach back with your right hand. Grab your foot, or whatever you can grab onto, your clothing, and kick to whatever degree feels good to you. So opening up through your left thigh, your right shoulder, balancing. And whatever we're doing, please breathe, breathe, breathe. And then release. Put it down. Take your legs back to high plank. I didn't forget the other side. High plank. And then lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in down dog. You can pedal it out. Bending one knee, letting the opposite heel sink down toward the ground. Switching. You can do that slowly. You can do it quickly. Just feeling the backs of your legs. Opening up, trying to let your heels sink as low as they can. Some people's heels touch the ground fairly easily. Others don't. And then drop back down onto your hands and knees. Restack your joints. And then opposite. Right leg out. Left arm out. First reach, and let's find the engagement. Breathe. So sometimes your right hip might be dipping here, so even out your sacrum by lifting your right leg up a little bit. You might not know. I mean, it's just an experiment. And then inhale and curl and round, elbow to knee. Inhale when you reach out, and exhale, curling, rounding, hollowing. Inhale, reach. One more time, curl, round, hollow. Reach out, bend your right knee, reach back with your left hand, and kick. Breathing into this opening. Feeling what it is that you feel, and then come on back, step back into high plank position. Lower chaturanga, upward facing dog, and lift up, downward facing dog. Downward facing facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. You can do that on your own if you want. Inhale and then breathe it out. Embrace what's good in your life. Focus on what's good in your life. Take a bunch of baby steps. Hang and ragdoll. Feet as wide as you want them to be. Maybe bend your elbows and tuck hands into the crook of opposite elbow. And breathe here. So right after I got this injury in my back, it's not a major injury, but I've been resting it for a couple of days. It was very hard to bend over like this. And I was really, really conscious of how important my yoga practice is to maintain range of motion, to maintain mobility. And then either inhale, rise up. So your choice. You can round up. Usually you want to soften your knees for that, or come on up with a flat back. And then bring your hands together over your head and pull your energy into your heart. Inhale your arms up. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. Side bend. Inhale back up and switch. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. Side bend. Let's do it one more time. Inhale up. Other side. Inhale back up and switch. Reaching over to your right as you stretch through the left. Inhale back up and bow forward. Forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen. Inhale. Exhale. Take it down to high plank. Step back. Come on down to your forearms in high plank. Forearm plank. And take a few breaths here. Maybe your hands, maybe your elbows are kind of right underneath your shoulders, and maybe your hands are parallel with your elbows, or maybe you have your hands clasped, whatever. And then this is a little bit challenging. Come on up onto your hands so you're in a regular high plank, and then lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Rock forward, high plank. This time lower chaturanga. Upward facing dog or cobra. Lift up, downward facing dog. Come on back, high plank. Let's do a balance here. So we're going to lift up. Do this first. Lift up your right leg. Not very high, just a few inches off the ground. And then shift your weight into your right hand. Core engaged here is really helpful. Lift up your left arm. Not very high. Feel the proprioception. Your body trying to, find its balance. And put your hands down. Chaturanga. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Breath out. Couple of breaths here. Warming up through movements using large muscles. Come on back, high plank, and we'll switch sides. So lift your left leg up this time. Shift into your weight into your left hand. And reach. You can always keep fingertips on the ground. Take a few breaths. Let the shake happen. Let the balancing act happen. Woo! And then high plank. Lift up. Downward facing dog. Nice job. Core work. Look in between your hands and step, hop, jump to the top of your space. Halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, forward, fold. And sweep your arms out.
up. Rise with a flat back. Bring your hands together overhead and pull your energy into your heart. Sun A's, arms up. Bow. Halfway lift, lengthen. Forward fold, and hang on. Before you step back to high plank, notice which foot you were about to step with. And if you were not purposely already going to step with the opposite foot, a lot of times we do the same foot over and over again. So whichever your automatic foot is, step back to high plank with the other foot leading, chaturanga. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Look in between your hands, step forward. Halfway lift, forward fold, sweep up, standing, arms overhead, and pull your hands into your heart. Inhale your arms up. One more Sun A here. Fold. Halfway lift. Fold. Step back to high plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. From down dog, drop your knees here, but keep your hands where they are. And sink your forehead on the mat. Come into Anahatasana, heart opening pose. Anahata is your heart in Sanskrit. So it's very much like a child's pose, but your upper body is more stretched out. Maybe feeling a little hollowing in your armpits. Maybe squeezing your shoulder blades together, feeling a chest stretch. And then slide your right hand underneath your left armpit and bring your right ear onto the mat. And you might make some adjustments here to figure out what works best for your body. We're looking for thread the needle, stretch on the top of your right shoulder. So you may need to shift around. Some people are going to feel this more than others, just based on how much your shoulders need to stretch, really. Try not to notice how dirty your floor is, and if you do, like me, notice how dirty your floor is. Try to just let it go. Allow yourself to have a reaction, but if you're not going to get up and sweep, just let it go. All right, come on back to center and switch sides. Left arm slides palm up underneath your right armpit. Turn your left ear to the mat. Shift around. Find where you do feel something. And maybe you don't feel it in your shoulder. Maybe you feel it somewhere else. And as long as it doesn't feel like pain, then you're probably good. All right, always allowing yourself to differentiate between pain and discomfort. Come on back to extended child's pose, Anahatasana. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, and come on into downward facing dog. So of course adjust your feet as you need to, and then look in between your hands and make your way to the top of your space. Trying to alternate feet if you remember which one you used to step last time. Halfway lift, lengthen up. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep your arms up and out. Rise. Bring your hands together overhead and bring your palms into your heart. Let's move through some sun bees. Inhale your arms up and sink into chair, Utkatasana. Hold chair. Maybe sink down a little bit lower. Feet are together or hip width. And wherever your feet are, your knees should be parallel. Okay, so if your knees are, or if your feet are apart, you want to have your knees apart as well. Sink a little further. You don't have to, but what would happen if you did? What would happen if you challenged yourself? Like, what would be the worst thing? You'd fall down, you'd need to take a break, and I suppose if you have an injury, the worst thing is you're exacerbating your injury. But barring that, sometimes we just put these limitations on ourselves that are really artificial. Forward fold.
Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold and step back, high plank. Lower to chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg, bend your knee, open your hip. As you lift your right leg up, notice whether you also lifted up your left heel a little bit higher. Maybe let it sink down. Circles, whatever feels good. And then bring your right leg back up and step it through. Low lunge. Spin your back foot flat. Rise up, warrior one. Clasp your hands behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Shine your heart up. Shine your heart out. Be grateful. Open up your heart and allow the gratitude you feel for whatever to shine out. Don't be stingy with gratitude. And then bow with humility. Humble warrior, right shoulder inside of your right knee. Not taking for granted our blessings, big and small. Rise back up, warrior one. Open, warrior two. Reach your right fingertips forward, reach your left fingertips back, and let your torso stay centered. Energy through your inner thigh, tracking your right toe, right knee out over your pinky toes. You should be able to look down and see your big toe. Reach forward, extended side angle. Maybe have your left bicep by your left ear so that you can reach a nice long line from the edge of your left toe, edge of your left foot through your left fingertips, and then keeping the bend in your knee. Reverse your warrior. Straighten your knee. Now you're kind of in reverse triangle. It's a lot more awkward. Just feel it. Rebend, reverse warrior, and cartwheel your hands down to the mat. Step back to high plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Find your down dog. Breath in, breath out. Really being deliberate about the oxygen coming in. Letting the exhalations be deliberate as well. Letting go, letting go, letting go. And then let your right heel press toward the ground as you lift up your left leg. Bend your knee, open up your hip. Circles or not, whatever feels good to you here. And then come on through for a low lunge. Spin your right foot flat. Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1. Sink into your left knee. Push into the pinky edge of your right foot to help orient your right hip point toward the front. Sink down a little bit more, but imagine that your fingers are hooked onto something. So your upper body, your lower body is sinking, but your upper body is keeping length. And then clasp your hands behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, open up your heart, and now receive. There are probably, hopefully, for each of us, people that are grateful to us. And take it in. You know, almost like compliments. Oh, your hair looks pretty today. Oh, no, it doesn't, blah, blah, blah. What if you just said thank you? Thank you for the compliment. And now, similar to receiving a compliment, receiving the gratitude, and then bow with humility. The humility that it takes sometimes to just accept and not push it away. Like Marianne Williamson said, who are you not to? Who are you not to be great? Who are you not to shine? Why not? And it doesn't mean you're conceited. It doesn't mean you're arrogant. Rise back up. It's okay to know your talents. Open up warrior two. It's okay to know what you're good at. And maybe to even embrace that, right? I am a good therapist. I am not a good auto mechanic. I am not a good mathematician. I need other people to do those things. Reach forward, extended side angle. Right bicep by your right ear. Maybe your left arm is helping open up your rib cage, extending, reaching, stretching. Reverse your warrior. Straighten your left knee for a moment. Reverse triangle. Rebend, reverse warrior. Helicopter down. Step back to high plank. Lower. Open. Downward facing dog. So we're going to put that together, but I'm going to suggest a different way of moving from extended side angle into reverse warrior. So when we get there, just pay attention, look in between your hands, make your way to the top of your space, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees, Utkatasana, chair, and rise up, hands together, hands into your heart, and then lift your arms right back up, chair, forward fold, halfway lift, high plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, 2, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up, step it through, low lunge, back foot flat, warrior 1, clasp your hands behind your back, open your heart, and bow, humble warrior. On an inhale, rise back up, warrior 1, and open warrior 2. So here's what we're going to do. From warrior 2, reach forward as if you're going to come into extended side angle, but rather than just, you can look at me for a second, rather than just tilting your arms, take your left arm, your back arm here, and sweep it forward. So you're almost turning toward the ground. Sweep your arm forward, and then open up. Open up, sorry, I went right into extend, okay. So you reach forward, sweep your arm forward, and your right arm comes down. So you open up that way, okay? Come on back, warrior 2. Reach forward, and then as you bring your right arm down, left arm forward. So your arms kind of scissor. And then open up, extended side angle. And you can even continue that movement right back into reverse warrior. You're almost making it into a dance. And then windmill down. We'll do it on the other side, hopefully a little bit smoother than I explained it there. Make your way to downward facing dog. And lift your left leg up. Low lunge. Warrior 1. Reverse your clasp. Hands behind your back. Open your heart. And bow. Humble warrior. On an inhale, rise back up. And open warrior 2. Reach forward. And then your right hand comes forward and up as your left hand goes down. Extended side angle, there we go. Reverse your warrior. And take it down. And let's do that one more time, but we'll skip. Go to downward facing dog. We'll skip the humble warrior. And we'll skip Utkatasana. So look in between your hands. Step your right foot forward. Warrior 1. Warrior 2. Reach. And then right arm comes down, left arm comes up, and you roll
open, and then you can even continue the dance back into reverse warrior.
And keep going. Make your way down, downward facing dog. And right into the other side. Step your left foot forward. Warrior one. Warrior two. Reach. Open up into that beautiful dance. You're rolling your chest open. Back into reverse. And windmill down. High plank. Low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. And take a couple of breaths. Lift your right leg up. Bend your knee and bring it through low lunge. Stay in crescent lunge. So keep your left heel up and rise up. Crescent lunge. And we're gonna, after, first land here. Right, so maybe your back knee is straight. Maybe your back knee's bent. That's a little easier on your low back. So taking care of yourself and, right, adjusting. You might not sometimes need something that you do need other times. And then we're gonna twist. So I'm gonna do a more gentle open twist. I'm just gonna bring my right arm back and my left arm forward. Feel free to bring your hands to heart center and twist that way, hooking your left elbow on the outside of your right knee. And wherever you are, release your twist and come on down to runner's lunge. Actually, drop your left knee, but before we come to runner's lunge, crawl up onto your right thigh. And you can lift your arms up or just have your arms on your right thigh. You can lift them up overhead, but sink into your right knee so that you're really feeling a stretch through the front of your left hip flexor. Well, that's where lots of people feel it. I don't know where you'll feel it. And then bring your hands down on the inside of your right leg and come into runner's lunge. Toe heel your right foot toward the top of your mat and sink down to whatever degree your body is ready to go to today. So the mind may be ready, but is the body willing? And observe that struggle, right? Observe the struggle, the part of you that wants to push, the part of you that's not satisfied. And have some compassion and curiosity, right? That part's just maybe wanting you to be in good shape or, I don't know, whatever, right? And then come on back up. Bring your right foot back to meet your left in high plank. Lower chaturanga. Upward facing dog. To downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up. Come on through into a low lunge. Rise to crescent. Back knee up this time. Find crescent, center. So the pulling your left hip crease back and thinking about your right hip point going forward is to even out your sacrum. And that's definitely something that keeps our backs happy. Maybe bring your hands into heart center and twist. Maybe a gentler twist. Right arm forward, left arm back. And wherever you are, release. Drop your right knee, but stay up. Bring your hands onto your left thigh and sink into your right front thigh. You can even kind of give your front femur bone there traction by using your arms to push your bone away from you. Now, try not to hunch. And then runner's lunge. Left foot forward a little bit, forward and out maybe. Hands inside. And come on down to your degree. observe, right? One of the ways that yoga is a moving meditation is that we put ourselves in these shapes and then we have this opportunity to observe. And it's not as much in the flowier asanas, right? When we do a sun A's or a moving flow. Those are good, those get our heat up, but they don't give us quite as much opportunity really to observe ourselves. Come on back up and step back into a high plank position. Make your way to downward facing dog. And look in between your hands, walk to the top of your space, jump wherever, halfway lift. Forward fold, sweep up, rise. Bring your hands together overhead and pull your energy into your heart. We're going to do a balancing sequence. If you have a block might be helpful here. So come to top of your mat and have your block, let's see, what are we going to do? Hang on a second. Okay. Have your block kind of in front of your right foot for right now. Stand up in Tadasana, mountain pose. So a lot of times we say Tadasana is arms up, and that's also a version of, that's a, kind of more an extended Tadasana, but really traditionally, arms by your side, palms facing forward. And have a moment of gratitude for this. You are standing upright. You are not stooped over. You are upright, shining your heart open, shining your palms open, shoulders back, neck strong, feet firmly in the ground. Wow, it's a lot. And then shift your weight into your right foot. We're going to come into airplane. So begin to teeter-totter forward. Keep your shoulders back. Think about keeping your left pinky toe pointed toward the ground so that there's not external rotation in your left leg. Think about maybe keeping your arms in line with your torso. Do your best. It's all we can do. Bring your hands to your heart. And here's where the block comes in. Begin to open up into half moon. So your right arm comes down, maybe onto the block. Left arm up. And try to get, this is hard to see without a mirror, but try to get your leg and your torso parallel to the ground, in line with each other so that your body's like a T, sort of like a T. And then bring your left hand down, keep your left leg up, standing splits rather. Walk your hands toward your right foot. If you want to keep, that's already going to challenge your balance a little more than having your hands in front of you. You can also put your hands on your right shin. And then step back. Come into a crescent lunge. Rise up. Crescent lunge. Sink down into your right knee. Reach up with your arms. Hook your thumbs. Bring your biceps by your ears. A little bit of a back bend here. A little bit of an opening. And then allow your right hand to come down onto the back of your left thigh. Reaching your left arm up. Exalted warrior. And then look forward and simply step up to the top of your space. Woo! That's kind of challenging. And then take your block, move it over in front of your left leg. Stand back up. Tadasana. Lift your kneecaps, engage your quadriceps. Shine your palms forward. As a wonderful teacher here in town, Jessica Patterson, says, imagine your heart is the highest point on your body. Imagine. And shift your weight into your left foot. Airplane. Take your time. Feel it out on this side. Try to keep your right pinky toes pointed down. And notice the part of you, maybe, that might come up resisting that because it's unfamiliar, or your leg doesn't go up as high, or whatever. Just be aware. Be aware of these different parts. We're not vilifying any of them. In fact, we're inviting them because we want to get to know ourselves. Bring your hands to your heart. Open up. Half moon. Unfurling. Really reaching, opening. Letting it feel good to move. And right hand down, standing splits. So first find it. And then maybe you walk your hands closer to your left foot. Maybe you grab behind your left calf. And then step back. Adjust your feet as necessary. Rise into crescent lunge. Hook your fingers on that imaginary bar and keep them where they are as you sink, even in your imagination, a little bit lower. And then bring your left hand down to the back of your right thigh. And reach up, maybe even a tiny bit of a back bend. And then look forward and step back up. Inhale your arms up. Dive forward. We're going to do some triangles. So if you want to use your block and triangle, grab it and position it. Halfway lift. Position it by your right foot. Fold and step back to high plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up. Bring it through low lunge. Spin your back foot flat. Rise to warrior one. Open to warrior two. Straighten your right knee. Reach forward. Also maybe sending your... So as you reach forward, send your right arm forward, extending through both sides and maybe simultaneously pushing out through your left hip so that you can really feel some more extension on the left side. And then bring your right arm down, left arm up. Maybe on the block, on the in or outside of your right thigh. Always thinking, right shin, I meant. Well, it could be on your right thigh. Maybe look up and see if your left thumb is right above your head. And if it's not, try to get it there. And if that hurts your neck, then look down after you. Just do that little check. And then come on up. Feet parallel or perhaps a little bit pigeon-toed. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Open up your heart. Prasarita, bow forward. Lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. Using your core here too. Keeping your core engaged to support your low back. Or your whole back, I guess. Keeping your quadriceps engaged. Even engage them now. Squeeze your thighs. And maybe you notice that those actions of strength in the front of your body allow some actions of length in the back of your body. Breathe. Tee your arms out, come up with a flat back. Right foot forward, warrior two. Flip your palm, reverse your warrior. Straighten your knee. Reverse triangles. So now in this reverse triangle, think about cocking your right hip forward a drop so that it's more of a triangle. And just feel that in your body, and then just windmill down. So you can probably going to want to bend your, probably going to need to bend your knee on the way there. Step back, high plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Lift your left leg, step it forward, low lunge. Move your block to the other side if you want to use it and didn't do that already. Virabhadrasana 1, Virabhadrasana 2, straighten your left knee, reach forward, send your right hip out. Send your right hip out. Think about, you can even think about it as like a flattening in your right waist, and tilt. Opening up. Look up, see if your right thumb is above your face. And maybe you can keep your neck there on this side, even if you didn't on the other side. Or look back down, or look neutral. Don't hurt yourself in yoga. Pushing yourself is different. Staying with discomfort is different than damaging. Come on back up. This time turn your feet out parallel. Turn your toes out, heels in. Bend your knees. Goddess pose. Elbows by your sides, palms facing forward and up. Sink into this opening. This is a little bit of a hip opener even. So thinking about opening through your inner thighs, bringing your knees out. And then stand back up. Warrior two. Reverse warrior. And then straighten your left knee. This time cock your left hip out a little bit. Reverse triangle. And then back down to the ground. And you can go through the vinyasa or simply step back into downward facing dog if that feels better to you. One more standing sequence. Yeah, we have time. Breathe in, downward facing dog. Breathe in, down dog. Or at any time, right? If it feels better, you drop to your knees. Take any other version of shape that feels more right to you. And then from down dog, step your right foot forward. Not as far though. Or step, and then just come on and stand up. We're gonna do pyramid pose into, what's it called? Revolved triangle. So get your block. You might have to undo that pose for a minute. Get your block and put it on the outside of your right foot, and then step back with your left foot. Let's do twisting triangle first. I'm going to change the order here. Take your hands and put them on your hips, and steering wheel your hips. So with your left foot back, your left hip is going to be back a little bit more. So steering wheel your body so that your hips are both-ish facing forward. Keep your right hand there so you're pulling back on your right hip crease. Reach your left arm up. Come halfway down with a flat back. Keep your right hip pulling back. Get some length in your spine here. It just feels good even to be right here. And then let your left hand come down maybe on the floor, right under your left shoulder. Maybe on your left thigh, shin I mean, or maybe on the block on the outside. And you can use the block on the inside too. And then if you can take it further, lift your right arm up. And then if you want, you try to look up at your right arm. You want to try to have your back flat here and your front knee straight. But that's, you want to try. You want to hurt yourself. And now, forward fold pyramid. Forward fold over your right thigh, right shin. Let your head be long. You can have your hands on your shin, on the block, on the floor. Let your neck go. And then simply step your left foot to meet your right. Take your block, put it on the other side, and roll on up. Step. We'll come all the way to standing. Step your right foot back. Toes of both feet are trying to point forward. Lift your arms up. Bring your hands to your hips and steering wheel. Bring your right hip forward and pull your left hip crease back. And then again, right arm up, left hand stays where it is. So as you come forward, keep pulling your left hip crease back and reaching with your right arm. Try to come down with a flat back pause here in this flat back halfway lift. Right arm extended, left hand pulling your hip back, pose. Let it feel good. Maybe it's hard and that can feel good too. And then right hand down under your right shoulder, on your left shin, or on the block on the outside. Maybe reach your left arm up and maybe look up. Twisting triangle. It's a pretty challenging shape. There's strength, there's balance, there's twisting. Forward fold pyramid. Trying to lengthen crown of your head toward your big toe. And then step your right foot back forward to meet your left, and bring your feet together and keep your toes on the ground. Drop your knees all the way to the ground. Oh yeah, toes pose. Here we go, we're doing it. So sit on your heels. Toes are tucked. Bring your hands into your heart. Interlace your hands. And lift your arms up. Turn your palms to the ceiling. Hollowing through your armpits, if that means anything to you. Stretching your arms toward the ground, distracting yourself from the pain in the tops of your feet. Bring your hands back down. Switch the grip. So opposite index finger on top. Hands back up to the sky. And float your arms down by your sides. Nice job. Bring your hands in front of you on the ground. Untuck your toes. Separate your feet. Hero's pose. Sit back between your heels. Stay here or continue all the way down onto the ground. Keep your knees on the ground. However far back you go, keep your knees on the ground. You can separate your knees, but please don't lift them up. So yoga is not about performing. I've heard that in India there are yoga contests, but that's really not the original intent. It's actually quite a perversion of the original intent. The original intent of yoga is just to keep us healthy, to keep us supple. You know, I've been thinking a lot. I told you guys I have this back injury for a day it was kind of hard to stand up straight, and thinking about how old people, are bent over and how we need to care for our bodies and keep them supple so that they continue to do what we want to do. I knew somebody who was sedentary and overweight, and an absolutely lovely person, but started having a lot of physical issues. And she said, I feel like my body is betraying me. And I gave her sympathy, which I truly had, empathy. I knew she was in pain and all of those things. But what I kind of also thought was, maybe you betrayed your body. You didn't eat right. You didn't exercise. And I'm not saying we need to be Olympians.
But take care of your body. Do some gentle yoga. Walk. Don't eat crappy food all the time. Take care of your body so that your body takes care of you. Come on up. Off of your back if you were there. Come forward onto hands and knees. And cross your legs behind you and roll down onto your back. When you get onto your back, hug your knees in, rock left to right. Put your feet down on the ground, place your right ankle on your left knee, and let your right knee push forward. All right, you're not pushing it forward, we're not tweaking the knee or pushing it in the wrong direction. Maybe think about opening your thigh and then lift your left thigh up, put your right hand through the hole, grab onto either the top of your left shin or your back of your left thigh. Supine pigeon. Trying to relax your head onto the ground, shoulders onto the ground. Keeping your right thigh pushing away from your chest. And then release and let this become a twist. Allow your knees actually to drop to the right and turn your head to the left. So your right foot is gently opening, coaxing your left thigh down. And then release. Come on up. Put both feet on the ground. Left ankle on top of your right knee. Energetically, you can even put your left hand on your thigh if you want to kind of push it forward a little bit. And then keeping that, pushing forward, or you can't keep it that far forward, lift up your right leg and grab onto whatever you can grab onto. Head and shoulders come back down. Maybe flex your toes. Maybe try to spread them. Maybe feeling a little air moving through your toes. Right? Every single body part matters. If you've ever broken your pinky toe, you know how much it matters. Right? And there, that goes back to gratitude. Gratitude that most of the time our pinky toes are not broken. Release and take the twist. And you're keeping your left foot on your right knee and allowing your right knee to sway to the left. Tee out your arms, look right. And then come on back to center. Both feet on the ground and let them slide on down. Shavasana. Corpse pose. So our yoga practice is like a cycle, right? We begin in child's pose, we end in corpse pose, and we have all kinds of experiences in between. And we have this opportunity in this little mini life cycle to see which parts of us are showing up. All parts are trying to protect us. All parts are trying to take care of us. Some of them just do it a bit more kindly than others. Sit up tall. Oops. What I meant to say is from Shavasana you can stay here or hug your knees in and rock up and down along your spine until you get to seated and then sit up tall. You can rock a few times, it feels pretty good. And then when you get to seated, sit up tall. Hands can be on your knees or however you want them, maybe at your heart center. And please come again to a moment of gratitude. And breathe. Deeply inhaling and exhaling, ideally through your nose. I am grateful to you for joining me on your mat today. I'll keep reminding you we're going to move eventually 2 Mondays in September. But in the meantime, I'll see you at least for another couple of weeks on the mat on Wednesdays. Namaste.